Okay, good morning all once again and welcome back to the second online class in the subject corporate finance. So this class is conducted for MBA semester for students. Okay, and in today's classes we are learning estimation of working capital. Okay, so through numerical problems. Okay, so this is the second numerical problem which we are going to solve today. But before
Is it
that, I will.
recording?
Ha, thank you. No, it is recording only. Okay, so it is getting recorded. Thank you. So as you can see. Okay, then so I'll clarify the doubt of Prashant first, then we'll go ahead with the next problem. So Prashant's question was the monthly expenditure, why it is not considered in the current liabilities? Prashant, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see first let us see this 30,000 rupee monthly expenditure. There is no information given about it, what type of expenditure it is. Okay, simply they have considered it as a monthly expenditure 30,000 rupees. Okay, means for 12 months it will be 3,60,000 rupees. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so here when we estimate the cost of production, okay, so which is 12 lakh rupees, and we deduct depreciation of 1,20,000 rupees. Okay, so the difference is 10,80,000. Okay, so that is what we considered in estimating. Okay,
Yes,
1 minute. In estimating raw materials inventory. Okay, so while estimating work in process as well as finished goods, I'm sorry, so 10,80,000. Okay, now we have also estimated the raw materials inventory, which is 7,20,000 rupees. Okay, so if we deduct 10 lakh 8, the 7,20,000 rupee, okay, raw material inventory from the total cost 10,80,000 rupee, the difference amount is 3,60,000 rupees, which is given here. 3,60,000 rupees exactly the difference amount. So that is one way how logically you can assume that 30,000 rupee per month, okay, is included in the cost of production. It is a part of cost of production. First of all, it is not a
yes,
overhead. It is not about wages. If it is it is about wages, it will be considered as a current liability. If it is among overheads, again it will be considered as a current liability. Okay, so in the absence of that, and with this logic of 10,80,000 minus 7,20,000 is equal to 3,60,000. So monthly expenditure is 30,000 rupees. Okay, so I will just like to recall. I'll share a new. Okay, slides. Can you see this? Prashant, can you see this PowerPoint slide?
Ye- yes, sir.
Okay, so now try to recall finished
Yes,
goods
sir.
inventory. How we calculated finished goods inventory, budgeted production in units multiplied by cost of goods produced per unit. Can you recall? So that monthly 30,000 rupees. Okay, expenditure incurred is on account of cost of goods produced, or it is the cost of producing the goods. Hence, we have not considered it as a current asset. Try to understand 30,000 rupees per month. We have not considered it as a current asset. We have considered it in the calculation of, okay, uh, cost of production, cost of okay, debtors. So you can recall again same way, debtors. Okay. Okay. So Prashant, can you hear me? Prashant, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So cost of production is considered in estimating finished goods inventory, and that cost of production includes 30,000 rupees per month. So we have considered it in calculating finished goods inventory as well as in calculating or estimating debtors. So budgeted credit sales in units multiplied by cost of sales. So there is no separate information given on cost of sales, hence cost of production will be considered as a cost of sales. So again, so we are considering cost of production, okay, assumed as a cost of sales in estimating the debtors. Again, that cost of production or cost of sales includes the monthly expenditure of 30,000 rupees per month. Okay, so I hope the concept is clear. 30,000 rupees per month is not considered as a current asset. It is part of the cost of production, hence used in estimating debtors as well as finished goods inventory. Okay, Prashant, any doubts? Hello, Prashant, can you hear me? Prashant, can you hear me? Hello, students, anyone? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Whether Sharan has joined the class, he's sending me, asking me to accept his invitation, but I don't see his invitation here in the participants. Sharan, invite. Okay, see, you all can, this is enabled, you all can join directly. Okay, I need not admit you manually. So kindly somebody send a text message to Sharan. Okay, saying that manual admission. Okay, I'm not doing it now. Students can simply join directly to the class because I don't see here. Earlier it used to come admit, admit. I used to do that. Okay, so please do it. Okay, so then I'm going to continue. Okay, so we'll go ahead with the next problem. Okay, so this is again, it is not about estimating working capital required to finance. So it is about calculating the duration of operating cycle. Okay, so I hope I am audible to you all. Just let me check. Aishwarya, can you hear me? Or Ankita, can you hear me? Ankita, can you hear me?
Sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay. So next problem is different from the first three problems. Okay, so in this problem we are not going to estimate the working capital required, but whereas we are going to estimate the duration of operating cycle. So at this stage I would like to remind you what is the operating cycle. Operating cycle is, okay, time required for a company to convert raw materials into finished goods into receivables, and receivables into cash. So I'll explain again. Operating cycle, the duration required or number of days required for a company to convert raw materials to finished goods. So I hope this concept is clear. Converting, how many days are required to convert raw materials to finished goods. Second step is converting finished goods into receivables. Receivables means debtors. Okay, that after making the finished goods, the company will sell the goods to its customers. And if the usual generally the goods will be sold to its customers on credit basis. I say customers, distributors, wholesalers, or other industrial customers I'm talking. Okay, so how many days it takes for the company to sell the goods to the customers? That is converting finished goods into receivables. And converting receivables into cash. Okay, means debt collection. So whatever sales are made on credit basis, okay, so within how many days the company takes to collect the credit given to the customers. So the total time required to complete one cycle is called as duration of the operating cycle. And if you can recall, what is the significance of operating cycle on working capital requirement? Longer, if the work operating cycle of the company is a longer duration, more working capital will be required. So similarly, if the duration of the operating cycle of a company is shorter, the company will require less working capital. Okay. So after the clarification, so I'll just move ahead and let us learn how to calculate duration of operating cycle. So duration of operating cycle will be calculated in number of days. So this is the problem. From the following data, compute the duration of the operating cycle for each of the 2 years and comment on the change in the duration of operating cycle, that is increase or decrease if any. So there are three columns: particulars, amount in year 1, amount in year 2. So information on stock. First, stock of raw materials in year 1 will be 20,000 rupees. Year 2 will be 27,000 rupees. Stock of work in process. In first year it is 14,000 rupees. Second year 18,000 rupees. Stock of finished goods will be 21,000 rupees in year 1, 24,000 rupees in year 2. Next data is on purchase of raw materials during the year. 96,000 rupees in year 1, 1,35,000 rupees in year 2. Cost of goods sold, 1,14,000 rupees in year 1, 1,18,000 rupees in year 2. Sales volume achieved by the company, 1,60,000 rupees in year 1, 2 lakh rupees in year 2. Debtors, 32,000 rupees in year 1, 50,000 rupees in year 2. Creditors, 16,000 rupees in year 1 and 18,000 rupees in year 2. Okay, so these all figures, okay, are actually the calculated amounts. Like for example, raw materials, how we calculate budgeted production in unit multiplied by cost of production per unit multiplied by raw material holding period is equal to what you get. So that amount is directly mentioned here. Okay, what we are required to calculate is, okay, the duration of operating cycle. So one assumption is given, it is given in the problem itself. Assume 360 days per year for computations purpose. So it is not 365 days in this problem. So I have to consider 360 days per year for computation purposes. So please remember, don't calculate using 365 days in this problem. You have to consider as 360 days are there in the year. Okay. So now each problem, each case. So how we can determine the duration of operating cycle? So we have to determine the raw material holding period for each of the current asset and current liabilities. So I repeat, we have to estimate the holding period for each current asset and each current liability. And if we can total the holding period of all the current assets and current liabilities minus creditors, we will get duration of the operating cycle. Procedure is simple, but you need to remember these steps. Okay, so please pay attention. So first current asset, raw materials. So what we are going to calculate? Raw materials holding period. So there is the equation for it, simple, but you need to remember, as I said, 360 days, because we have been asked to assume 360 days in the year. 360 days multiplied by stock of raw materials. So stock of raw materials is 20,000 rupees divided by cost of raw materials consumed. Okay, so here whatever is purchased during the year, purchase of raw materials 96,000 rupees is assumed as consumed during the year. So we are going to consider that data. So for year 1, raw material holding period can be calculated by multiplying 360 days by stock of raw materials. Stock of raw materials is 20,000 rupees, whole divided by cost of raw materials consumed. So the raw materials consumed will be equivalent to purchased raw materials during the year 96,000 rupees. So 360 multiplied by 20,000 whole divided by 96,000. Simplify it, you'll get 75 is the number of days. So raw material holding period is 75 days. Exactly similarly for raw material holding period for year 2, 360 days multiplied by stock of raw materials is 27,000 rupees whole divided by cost of raw materials consumed. So which is 1,35,000 rupees. So once simplifies this, you will get 72 days. So in year 2, raw material holding period is 72 days. So if you can compare year 1 and year 2, the raw material holding period has decreased by 3 days. So it is a good thing for the company. Then, second, okay. So second item is creditors. Okay. So as I mentioned, creditors payment period has to be deducted from the total days to arrive at the duration of operating cycle. Because say in this case it is 60 days. It means up to 60 days the company need not make payment to suppliers of raw materials. Okay, so that is the benefit to the company. Okay, so that's why the 60 days will be deducted from the total number of days to arrive at duration of the operating cycle. So we write less creditors payment period. So next we are going to find out the creditors payment period. So how we can arrive at that? 360 days multiplied by creditors. So creditors in year 1 are 16,000 rupees. Whole divided by purchases. So purchases is nothing but purchase of raw materials in year 1 from the suppliers. So creditors payment period is calculated by multiplying 360 days into creditors 16,000 rupees whole divided by purchases made during the year, that is 96,000 rupees. So once you simplify, the answer will be 60. It is 60 days, but it is denoted in the brackets because we are going to less or deduct the creditors payment period from the total number of days. Similarly for second year, 360 days multiplied by creditors. Creditors in year 2 are 18,000 rupees, all divided by purchases. Purchases of raw materials during the second year is 1,35,000 rupees. So 360 into 18,000 whole divided by 1,35,000 is equal to 48 days. See, what you can observe is the creditors period has decreased by 12 days. The creditors payment period has decreased by 12 days from year 1 to year 2. It is not good for the company. Okay, it means the duration of operating cycle definitely will increase in year 2. Let us see. Okay, at the end. Okay, and then we are going to continue. Next, work in process holding period. So work in process holding period. So how can we determine 360 days into stock of work in process whole divided by cost of goods manufactured. Okay. So 360 days multiplied by 14,000. 14,000 is the work in process. Okay, stock of work in process in year 1. We can refer it. Work in process in year 1 14,000, year 2 18,000 rupees. So work in process holding period is equal to 360 days into stock of work in process in year 1 14,000 whole divided by cost of goods manufactured, which is 1,40,000 in year 1 is equal to 36 days. So the work in process holding period is 36 days. Work in process holding period for year 2 360 days into stock of work in process in year 2 is 18,000 rupees whole divided by cost of goods manufactured in year 2 is 1,80,000 rupees. So is equal to 36 days. So here they have given an assumption, assume equal to cost of goods sold. Cost of goods manufactured, it is not separately given, so hence it is assumed equal to cost of goods sold. So that is what you can check here. Cost of goods sold 1,40,000 and 1,80,000. So while calculating work in process, okay, the cost of goods manufactured are assumed as equal to cost of goods sold. So you need to make this assumption when you don't find the data, but logical assumptions. Next, finished goods holding period. So 360 days multiplied by stock of finished goods whole divided by cost of goods sold. So 360 year 1 360 into stock of finished goods in year 1 is 21,000 rupees all divided by cost of goods sold is 1,40,000 in year 1. So is equal to 54 days. So for year 2, finished goods holding period is 360 multiplied by stock of finished goods in year 2 is 24,000 all divided by cost of goods sold in year 2 is 1,80,000 rupees is equal to 48. So next, debtors collection period 360 days multiplied by debtors all divided by credit sales. Okay, so 360 into debtors in the first year are 32,000 all divided by credit sales are 1,60,000 rupees. So I can refer the data. Sales, all sales are assumed to be credit sales in this case. 1,60,000 in year 1, 2 lakh rupees in year 2. So such logical assumptions you have to make. Assumed equal to total sales. So credit sales are assumed to equal total sales. So 360 into 32,000 is the amount of debtors in year 1, all divided by credit sales. 1,60,000 in year 1. Credit sales are assumed to equal to total sales. Is equal to 72 days. And debtor collection period for year 2 is 360 into 50,000 rupees debtors in year 2 all divided by credit sales in year 2 2 lakh rupees. Okay, credit sales are assumed to be equal to total sales, so is equal to 90 days. So if you compare again, the debtor collection period has increased, okay, by 18 days from year 1 to year 2. Again, it is not a good trend. So definitely the duration of operating cycle is going to increase in year 2. So now we are going to duration of operating test cycle, sum of 1 to 5. Sum of 1 to 5. So 75 days minus 60 days plus 36 days plus 54 days plus 72 days is equal to 177 days. The duration of operating cycle in year 1. So I repeat, if I consider only plus first 75 days raw material holding period plus 36 days of work in process holding period plus 54 days of finished goods holding period plus 72 days of debtors collection period minus 60 days of creditors payment period is equal to 177 days, the duration of operating cycle in year 1. Similarly, okay, so if we consider year 2, 72 days of raw material holding period plus 36 days of work in process holding period plus 48 days of finished goods holding period plus 90 days of debtor collection period minus 48 days of creditors payment period is equal to 198 days. Okay, so now we are going to write our observations. The duration of the operating cycle has increased by 21 days in year 2. So 198 minus 177, you can find out the difference in operating cycles of year 1 and year 2. So the difference is 21 days. So what we can observe, the duration of the operating cycle has increased by 21 days in year 2 compared to year 1. That is our first observation. So how we calculated the 21 days? Increase in debtors collection period is 18 days. So here you can check increase in debtors collection period is 18 days. Okay. Okay. Then decrease in debtors collection period is 12 days, so total 30 days. Then you have to deduct decrease in raw material holding period, which was 3 days, and deduct decrease in finished goods holding period, 6 days. So 30 minus 9 is equal to 21 days. Okay, this tells us why. Okay, this calculation tells us why the operating cycle has increased by 21 days in year 2, so that the managers can take some corrective actions. Otherwise, simply you can deduct 198 minus 177, you will get the same difference, 21 days. And it will necessitate more working capital in year 2. So I have mentioned operating cycle is one of the major determinant of working capital requirement. Longer the duration of operating cycle, larger will be the requirement for working capital. Hence, the increase in duration of operating cycle will necessitate more working capital in year 2. This increase has been primarily caused by an increase in debtor collection period, okay, and decrease in creditors payment period. Okay, so I'll pause you for the time being. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, so you need to remember these equations. There is no alternate for that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so voice is clear.
Creditor collection period is deduct from.
Sorry. Yeah, your voice is not audible clearly. But anyway, anybody else? Vaishnavi, can you reply?
Yes, sir. No doubts, sir.
No
No
doubt.
doubts, sir.
And also my voice is clear.
Yes, sir. It is clear.
And any other voice is mixing along with mine?
Sorry, bro.
No, sir.
Okay. Just ask because the another class is also going on in next cabin. Whether the voice is mixing. No, right?
Yes, sir. But a little bit voice is audible.
But not clearly, not disturbing.
Not disturbing, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, okay, then I'm going to mute you all again, and we are going to solve two small quick problems for 3 marks. Okay, and with that we'll conclude. Okay. Okay, so 5 minutes are remaining. I hope I will be able to complete it. So these are for 3 marks. Calculate the amount required to invest in raw materials inventory from the following data. Budgeted production in units 1,04,000 units. Cost of raw materials per unit 80 rupees. Average inventory holding period is 4 weeks. Assume 52 weeks per year for computation. I hope you will be able to recall the formula or equation. Raw materials inventory is equal to budgeted production in units multiplied by cost of raw materials per unit multiplied by average inventory holding period in weeks. So the budgeted production is 1,04,000 units multiplied by cost of raw materials per unit is 80 multiplied by 4 divided by 52, which is the raw material inventory holding period. So once you simplify, the answer is 6,40,000 rupee is the working capital required to finance raw materials inventory. Okay. Exactly similar problem. Calculate the amount required to invest in raw materials inventory from the following data. Budgeted production in units. Budgeted production in units 1 lakh units. Cost of raw materials per unit 100 rupees. Average inventory holding period is 4 weeks. Assume 52 weeks per year for computation. Okay, so then it is simple. Raw materials inventory is equal to budgeted production in units multiplied by cost of raw materials per unit multiplied by average inventory holding period in weeks in this case. So 1 lakh is the budgeted production, 1 lakh units multiplied by 100, which is cost of raw material per unit multiplied by 4 weeks divided by 52 is the average inventory holding period. So once you simplify, the answer you get is 7,69,230.76 rupees is the working capital required to finance raw materials inventory. Okay, so such problems you can expect in 3 marks. Okay, so these are the numerical additional problems, okay, which we have solved in working capital management. Okay, so with this I would like to conclude unit 4, current assets, investment in current assets or current assets management. Okay, chapter number 13, working capital management. So in the overall unit we learned the theory part regarding what is working capital, what is the nature of working capital, types of working capital, and factors influencing working capital requirement. Okay, then thereafter we learned the computation of working capital. How we, in that we learned how to compute current assets, how to compute current liabilities. Okay, and then the difference between current assets and current liabilities is net working capital. Okay, then we learned how to compute, okay, working capital, okay, by way of solving the numerical problems. Then we learned how to compute, okay, duration of operating cycle, okay, as well as we learned how to estimate individually the finance required in current assets. Okay, so if you have any doubt you can please ask, otherwise the class will be over. So thank you one and all for your active participation. Okay, so I'm going to unmute you all. So any questions? Yes. Yes, any question? So even if the time is less than a minute, if the meeting gets over, please feel free to call me after the meeting. But still, we have time, you can ask question. Yes, any questions?
No, sir.
No.